Well, hey everybody. It's Ron Neitzel, author of the Green Wizard's Guide. Well, I happened to come across something very interesting this weekend. Uh, we're all dealing with the coronavirus, and we're all worried about our health and our nutrition. And I happened to run across uh, a broadcast that Dr. Wallach has done, uh, covering some of this stuff. And I thought rather than and continuing on in the route that I was going, I was going to go ahead and play this 1 hour audio track and let you guys hear what I hear from Dr. Wallach. Uh, and I don't want to take up a whole lot of your time. Most of my videos, if not all of my videos, are pretty much all audio. It's not about seeing me and seeing what's going on. It's about getting the information. And about 10 or 15 minutes into this, um, he's already covered the coronavirus stuff, and uh, some of it's controversial as to what's being said in the news, and by CDC and what have you, and the FDA and what have you. They're going to argue some of these points. Um, I myself am not a doctor. Dr. Wallach is, and he will go over his credentials. Um, But uh, you got to understand when you're looking at a lot of the what the CDC allows and what the FDA allows and what this allows and what that allows. Understand a lot of those chemical companies, and their owners are on the board of the CDC and the FDA and what have you. So it's kind of like they're protecting their own brands and not allowing other brands. It's no longer doctors actually in control of things that are impartial. Everybody seems to make a profit somehow, some way when you start tracking it backwards. Um, but yeah, I don't want to hold up a whole lot of your time. I don't want to overdo this, what have you. I appreciate you stopping in. If you enjoy this audio, give me a thumbs up, leave a comment. Let me know that this is the kind of stuff you'd rather hear versus listening to me talk about stuff. Because I can track down a whole lot more of this stuff. It's very informative. Um, I hope it comes across, and I hope the audio is clear enough that it works for you. Um, and I really do truly hope you enjoy this. Please share this out. Hopefully, I get more than 20 views this time around. Um, my last video, most of my videos don't get a whole lot of views, and I understand. A lot of people aren't into this stuff, and or they don't share this stuff out. Um, and it is what it is. This is YouTube, and that's just the way it works, and it's all good. But without taking this any further, I'm gonna shut up and I'm gonna let Dr. Wallach take over. Hope you enjoy it.
Good. I don't see anything that says.
I don't see anything on the screen.
Nope, but we are started, so you can go. And I don't
see it. Okay, hi. Welcome everybody. This is Dr. Joel Wallach, and I want to thank Stephanie and Howard and Josh and everybody who tried to put this thing together. And we're sort of like in the middle of a viral war, and everything doesn't go right when we're in the middle of a war. So I apologize if we don't have all the pictures up here. But I do want to start out by welcoming you to the Longevity webinar here. And we'll start out with a little bit of the corona thing, okay, which is the COVID-19, that is the designation now. And we've got about 2,200 cases in the United States, and just over, I think it's like 33 deaths. And of course, worldwide, it's much more severe than that. And two things you need to do to deal with this virus thing. Number one, don't go to big crowds. Obviously, everybody knows that. And you want to support your immune system. Of course, your stem cells require the 90 essential nutrients, and your immune system includes your bone marrow, your skin, your lymph nodes, your thymus, your liver, and many other things, but those are the big things, and people forget about the immune system, including your bone marrow. Your bone marrow makes your red blood cells, your white blood cells, your stem cells, also your platelets and your antibodies, and particularly your first sort of like cavalry when you get an infection of any kind, or even a wound or an injury, are your white blood cells. Your lymphocytes, your neutrophils go to defend you and gobble up any viruses or bacteria or fungus or things that have gotten into your bloodstream and your tissues. And so you want to make sure that you're getting the 90 essential nutrients, 60 minerals, 16 vitamins, 12 amino acids, 3 fatty acids. And we're talking about basic healthy start pack. Bad going on out there in the atmosphere, in the community. You want to use the biggest hammer in the toolbox. So I would go ahead and use the Healthy Brain and Heart Pack, 1 per 100 pounds of body weight. Get rid of all the bad foods so you can maximize absorption. No fried foods, no processed meats, no deli slices, sandwich meats, sausage, ham, bacon, bologna, salami, pastrami, pepperoni, jerky, corned beef, spam. They cause inflammation, but they also divert your energies from defending you to your immune system trying to deal with all the inflammation caused by the processed meats. And absolutely no oils, because they also turn into trans fats, heterocyclamines, and acrylamides, which cause inflammation. They cause plaque in your arteries. They set up and initiate cancer, and again cause inflammation on your tissues. Which diverts your white blood cells to go deal with that instead of going after the viruses. And then absolutely no gluten, no wheat, no brown rye oats. That includes dog food, cat food, fish food, bird food. And we're talking about everybody in the household. Well, they're at the other end of the table. No, you get cross-contamination in the beds, the couches, the dog food, the cat food, the rugs, also in the washer and dryer, food preparation surfaces, and so on. So nobody in the household can be eating gluten. I mean, you got to read labels, because even things like Kind bars, which say they're gluten-free, the first ingredient is oats, and there are no such things as gluten-free oats. If you like beer, drink Japanese or Chinese beer made from rice. You don't want to be drinking scotch and bourbon and rye whiskey, because they're made from wheat, barley, rye, and oats. And so wine tends to be safe if you want an alcoholic beverage. And then, of course, you want the 90 essential nutrients again. You also want to throw in, for the bone marrow, I like the MSM. I like the glucogel, but I also like the new collagen collagen peptides. And they give your bone marrow what it needs to function properly. And then you also want things like Z-radical, fucoid Z, cell shield RTQ. And I also like the BTT 2.0 tablets, which have 150,000 ORIC points when you take 2 doses a day, which again help you defend yourself against viral things. And then you also want to use our colloidal silver. We do have the Pure Works, but we're back ordered on that. If you have some of that, you can use that. Don't hand your spray bottles of foam or spray to somebody to use. You hold it and spray them on their hands, and share it if you want to or need to. But don't let them contaminate your spray bottle. You hold that to yourself. But you also want to take a dropper full of our colloidal silver and put it in a couple ounces of water in a spray bottle, little spray bottle. You want to close your eyes and put a spray mist around your face and inhale deeply, so you get the diluted colloidal silver up in your nasal passages in the back of your throat. Then you want to brush your teeth and gargle with it and swallow it. Okay. Colloidal silver kills just about everything. And then, of course, we have our aromatherapy oils, which are not really oils, because people say, you just said don't use oils. Okay, well, our aromatherapy oils biochemically are esters. They're 2 carbons long. They're slippery, and people called them oils 1,000 years ago because they felt like an oil, but they're an ester, and so they're different chemically than oils. They don't cause all the problems and inflammation that oils do. And so you can put 4 or 5 drops of our eucalyptus oil, or the tea tree oils, the cedar oils. Put, say, 4 or 5 drops of that in a teaspoon of our CM cream. You can put it into a teaspoon of our hemp FX. and actually, or hemp FX Soothe, of course, and apply that to any place you have discomfort, pain, or swelling. And then you want to just, again, eat well. That's an addition. You can't just eat well. You got to get all your 90 essential nutrients. And then this is an ongoing thing. I mean, you have to be careful. You wash your hands 10 times a day and so on. You use the colloidal silver in your aromatherapy oils from your fingers all the way up to your elbows, from your toes all the way up to your knees. I like to use those things kind of as a aftershave as well. I like to use the foam PureWorks as an aftershave because people want to, after my lectures, want to hug me and kiss me and all that kind of stuff. Use your elbows, right? Don't shake hands now. And you have to watch it. Some of the churches are using the same wine glass to pass around everybody. They're causing their whole congregation to get the coronavirus. So be careful, really, about sharing anything with anybody. And then you want to begin to share all this with people in your family, your church, your neighborhood, your workplace, and including getting rid of all the bad foods so you can maximize absorption and reduce inflammation. Now, with all that said, I want to start out by saying that we learned this in the animal industry because we don't have health insurance for animals. And for those of you who are new and haven't heard me speak before, the thing that makes me different is I have a degree in agriculture. I have a degree in veterinary medicine. My postdoctoral fellowship, which is the equivalent of a PhD degree, is in the Smithsonian Institute of National Treasure. It's for pathology. And it was a $25 million grant back in 1967, which was a lot of money back then, from NIH, National Institutes of Health. I was supposed to find zoo animals that got death, from the same pollutants that human beings did. And so when the zoo animals started dying from pollution, we knew to evacuate the cities. That was the basis of the grant. And of course, the grant was gotten because I've ran into the first mass die-off in America from pollution, got it published. And so Marlon Perkins from the old Mutual Omaha Kingdom show took that publication and used it to get the grant. So he wanted me to be the pathologist on the project. That's how that happened. I also have a degree in naturopathic medicine from the National College, which is now the National University of Naturopathic Medicine from Portland, Oregon. I'm licensed in Portland, Oregon, the state of Oregon, and also in the state of California. I'm working on the state of Arizona. Be licensed in the state of Arizona too, and many other states that also have licenses, maybe Colorado and so on, Washington State. And so the whole idea is to get the information out to your families. Of course, we have lots of tools. We have 15 books. We have a new one coming out next month. It's called All in Your Head. Talks about osteoporosis of the skull, squeezing the 25 cranial nerves. We have 15 books. We have 100 CDs. The Dead Doctors Don't Lie CD. We've sold at this point over 600 million copies. It's in 9 languages. We're setting up many audio books also on 1,367 radio stations for 2 hours a day, Monday through Friday. I'm a guest on many talk shows and so forth, to leverage time and get the information out. We have 5,000 products in longevity, and we have pre-existing packages, for over 900 different diseases. The basic core package is the Healthy Start Pack. Then we have what we call the secret sauces for over 900 different diseases. And so everybody gives the same answer for the same question. But what do we do for arthritis? Well, there's the Healthy Bone and Joint Pack. What do we do for diabetes? We have the Healthy Blood Sugar Pack. What do I do for obesity? The Healthy Weight Loss Pack. And so it's not difficult. It's not difficult. So if you become a preferred customer, you pay the wholesale prices, you get an auto ship, I pay the shipping, and you become an associate, which is also known as a distributor for longevity. Not only do you get the wholesale prices and you get an auto ship, you get free shipping, but also you get all the tax breaks of billionaires. You get all the tax breaks that people who are working for big corporations get. You get paid vacation. You get the use of a company car. All your supplements and programs from Youngevity are paid for, and your Youngevity business gets the tax breaks. We do have a book called Wall Street for Kids, Wallach Street for Kids. It tells you how to make the business plan that'll be legal so that you get all these tax breaks. And you can get thousands of dollars worth of tax breaks every month. You get tax breaks, thousands of dollars worth every month, okay? When you have a Youngevity business. When you're just a customer, sorry. When you're just an employee for somebody else, sorry. Okay, so you do have to own your own business to be able to get and be able to take advantage of all the tax breaks. But you do get the free shipping when you get an auto ship, and you get the wholesale prices as a preferred customer. Well, with all that said, you have to appreciate that the biggest killer of human beings, particularly in the United States, is cardiovascular disease. And just about everything that the doctor has been taught in school is incorrect. Cholesterol has nothing to do with plaque in your arteries. It has nothing to do with heart disease. Congestive heart failure is caused by deficiency of a single vitamin. Coronary artery disease, where you get plaque in your arteries, is caused by inflammation caused by consuming oils that oxidize and turn into heterocyclic amines, acrylamides. I ran into that by doing an autopsy on 2 adult male wild sheep from the Atlas Mountains of North Africa, north of Morocco, and they'd only been in captivity in the United States for 2 months. And when I did the autopsies on them, and they died 3 days apart, they had 98% blockage of their coronary arteries with plaque. I had to sit down and think a minute. Why? How did these sheep get cholesterol? They're not eating eggs. They're not eating butter. They're not eating meat. What's going on here? Well, it turned out, to make a long story short, we did an analysis of the food they were getting, which was mixed grains. They were also getting grass clippings from the zoo grounds. They're also getting hay. Well, the mixed grains were stored in a metal 55-gallon drum in a metal barn for 2 years before they were fed to those sheep. And during the summertime, the heat in that barn would get up to 120 degrees. The temperature would get to 120 degrees, and it oxidized the oils in the wheat germ, turned into trans fat acrylamides, and that's why they got the plaque in their arteries. Now that's published in Danish because the medical journals, okay, that do cardiology wouldn't publish it because it flew in the face of their belief that it was cholesterol that caused all those problems. When you look at the culture on Earth that has the fewest heart attacks and strokes, the Inuit Eskimos above the Arctic Circle. We looked at this for 26 years because nobody could believe it was true. And what they found out was the Eskimos, the Inuit Eskimos above the Arctic Circle, have the fewest strokes and heart attacks of any culture on Earth. Their diet consists of absolutely no vegetables, no grains. Their diet is almost 100% whale meat, whale blubber, walrus meat, walrus blubber, seal meat, seal blubber, bear meat, bear fat. They had salmon for a couple of months during the year when the salmon were running to go to the heads of the rivers where they could lay their eggs. And they ate their meat and fat raw, muktuk. And so they didn't oxidize it by cooking it. And so they their cholesterol, their total cholesterol ran 350 to 550. You heard it, 350 to 550. Yet they didn't get blocked arteries. They didn't get heart disease. They didn't get strokes. Okay, because nothing was oxidizing. And then I want to talk about our program, okay, for heart disease. And I had to tell you before I do that, one of the saddest stories we have is, of course, Neil Armstrong, the first man on the moon, had coronary artery disease. And he went to one of the top cardiologists, heart surgeon, who was doing a bypass surgery for him, and killed him on the surgery table. And the family immediately sued the cardiologist for $1 billion. And his insurance company offered him $6 million in cash, and they took it. But that doctor killed our first man on the moon, Neil Armstrong, during surgery for a case that really didn't need surgery. Okay. Then we'll talk about another common disabling thing, which is the high blood pressure. Okay, we have a program which add to the Healthy Brain and Heart Pack, which are the biggest hammer in our toolbox. And so I like to throw in the de-stress capsules. I would throw in the Ultimate Niacin Plus, and then the Ultimate Daily Classic tablets will support healthy blood pressure and support healthy blood flow through blocked arteries. Even when you have kidney failure, and I throw that in here because kidney failure is caused by blocked arteries. 99% of the time when you have kidney failure and your blood test says your kidneys are not filtering the blood, okay, guess what? There's nothing wrong with the kidneys. The kidneys are not filtering the blood because the arteries that carry the dirty blood into the kidneys are blocked. So they're not getting the dirty blood. That's why they're not filtering the blood. So the Ultimate Daily Classic tablets are formulated to deal with that. Supports healthy blood pressure, supports healthy blood flow through blocked arteries, even blocked arteries going to the kidneys. I have to tell you, we see patients who have not urinated in 10 years. They're on dialysis 6 days a week for 10 years. They're on dialysis for 25 years. We put them on this program, and in 2 to 4 weeks, they're urinating again, so they're down to dialysis 3 days a week instead of 6 days a week. And after 4 to 6 weeks, they're totally off of dialysis. We do this literally thousands of times a year, all over the world. We're in 50 countries. Then I want to talk about arthritis and osteoporosis. Very common. Your bones are not poured concrete. Okay, so they come and go based on what you eat, what you don't eat. They come and go based on usage. So if you're the sort of person that has a heavy duty job, lifting and loading and unloading and moving heavy equipment, you have to go up and down stairs, walk long distances, you're standing behind machines in a factory, working machines and so forth. Let's say you work in the library and you're sitting in a chair all day and checking people's library cards, but you go to the gym every day for an hour, or you work out at home on a machine 3 days a week. You want to be taking the Healthy Bone and Joint Pack. You want to be taking the Healthy Bone and Joint Pack. That's 1 per 100 pounds of body weight. And in addition to having the basic Healthy Start Pack, which is the core of all of our programs, it has the glucogel in it, okay, which is the raw material for your bones to maintain the bone matrix, which is sort of the rebar of the bone, okay. Also tendons, ligaments, connective tissue, disc between the vertebrae. And all of these cells, all these tissues die on a regular basis. They get injured, they die, or they die from they run their normal lifespan. And so you need to be taking in on a continuous basis the raw materials, which are in the Healthy Bone and Joint Pack and the MSM and the, let's see here, in the pack, of course, is the glucogel. But I also want you to throw in the vitamin D3. And people say, well, I live in Florida. I live in Southern California. I live in Texas. Well, guess what? Most people put on sun blockers so they don't get skin cancer. And so you're out in the sun, but you're not really getting the sun. So you do have to supplement with the vitamin D3. And I would also throw in our collagen peptides. Okay, so 2 of those servings if you're doing these heavy duty jobs. We have a sports drink called Rebound, which has 100 nutrients in it. Most sports drinks out there are primarily sugar and caffeine. They do have maybe 2, 4, 6 nutrients in them. Ours is the only one. Our Rebound is the only one that has 100 nutrients in them. Okay, it was actually formulated for Theo Ratliff, who had his contract taken away by the Atlanta Hawks because he had bone-to-bone arthritis in his knees at age 28. Cartilage popped off his hip, got a fracture, catching a pass from his teammate, and they took his contract away. They said he's too fragile to play ball. Well, to make a long story short, I rebuilt him using the Healthy Bone and Joint Pack and the Rebound we made for him. He got a contract back. He got it back, and not from the Atlanta Hawks, but from the San Antonio Spurs. And over 11 years' time, he made $140 million. Okay, so that just shows you what taking these supplements can do for you, right? Drew Pearson, also another great football player, the Hail Mary pass receiver, just one of our great guys who works with us. And Mike Glenn, also from the Atlanta Hawks, we rebuilt his knees. He's a great distributor with us. And Delisha Jones. Delisha Jones is just a gem. She was on the women's Olympic team. She was the center, and she got 3 gold medals with the Olympic team. And of course, she owns women's basketball teams now in the WBA, the Women's Basketball Association. And so she sells a lot of the healthy bone and joint packs, and also the Rebound. Now, it's kind of interesting when you look at professional athletes, when you take all sports combined, the average lifespan is 62. The average lifespan of professional football players in the CFL, the Canadian Football League, and the NFL, the National Football League in America, and all the other sports, tennis and golf and soccer and rugby and so forth, basketball, their average lifespan is 62, but the CFL and the NFL is 51. Okay. And so you really have to consciously be supplementing with all 90 essential nutrients appropriate for body weight to maximize lifespan, health, production, and performance. Now, the cause of death in these athletes is what's called hypertrophic cardiomyopathy heart disease. In one study in Qishan province, China, I did 1,700 autopsies on kids that died of that. In America alone, we have 25,000 kids under the age of 20 each year die from this hypertrophic cardiomyopathy heart attack. It's caused by a deficiency of a single mineral. That same mineral deficiency is the basic root cause of the pancreatic and liver disease of cystic fibrosis. There's another nutrient deficiency that causes the lung disease of cystic fibrosis. That same nutritional deficiency winds up causing muscular dystrophy. And I actually gave all that information to Jerry Lewis. He got excited. He took it to the Muscular Dystrophy Association, and they fired Jerry Lewis and shut off the telethon. That's why you haven't heard anything about that for a long time. And then when you look at Sudden-Death syndrome, SIDS, it's actually caused by that same deficiency. SIDS is actually caused by this heart attack in these babies under 1 year of age. It has nothing to do with the mother laying on the babies. Only 2% of the babies that die of SIDS are in bed with their mothers, and their mothers didn't lay on them. 10% of the babies who are diagnosed with SIDS die in car seats, going long distances in car seats. And none of them suffocate. They're all dying of this heart attack. And again, 200 of those 1,700 autopsies they did in Qishan province were in kids under the age of 1 year, and they would have been diagnosed as SIDS here in the United States. And they died of that single nutritional deficiency, that hypertrophic cardiomyopathy heart attack. And make long story short, April 16th, 2013, the federal court, they ruled in our favor to force manufacturers of baby formulas to put that nutrient in baby formulas. And 3 months after they began to put it in there, because they were forced to by this federal court ruling, headlines in the let's see here, the Charlotte Observer, which is the big newspaper in Charlotte, North Carolina, like New York Times in New York, front page story, big headlines like Third World War size and boldness. We don't know why, but Sudden-Death syndrome has vanished in the state of North Carolina. 3 months later, the newspapers in Missouri said, we don't know why, but Sudden-Death syndrome has vanished in the state of Missouri. 3 months later, all the newspapers in America are saying, we don't know why, but the rate of Sudden-Death syndrome has drastically dropped by 85 to 95% in all states. That's because the manufacturers of baby formulas were forced to put this nutrient in the baby formulas, and 99% of all Sudden-Death syndrome babies were on baby formulas. Breastfed babies typically did not get or die from Sudden-Death syndrome. That's because the baby formulas only had 3 minerals in there when all vertebrates, including humans, require 60. So we're going to give a hand to Youngevity, because this is something that we did, and so we're very, very proud of that. And so make sure that everybody, even though that's in there and they need 60 minerals, many of the baby formulas still only have 4 or 5 or 6 nutrients, mineral nutrients in them. All right. And so we actually came up with what's called the Kids Toddy, Toddy, the Kids Toddy. It's a liquid multiple for kids. Just read the label for the dosages and give them a couple of doses a day from the time they're born, if they're going to be being fed a formula. But just remember, they also have that one nutrient in there by federal court ruling. And it's an amazing thing. All the diseases said to be genetic in these babies were caused by nutritional deficiencies because they're only getting 3 of the minerals they're supposed to get out of the 60. And all the diseases said to be genetic were just really just simple mineral deficiency diseases caused by bad formulation, because medical doctors are telling the manufacturers, don't put those nutrients in there because they're dangerous. And so there's a horrible, horrible, horrible thing that happened over many, many years, but we're glad we've set it straight and we're going in the right direction now. Then I want to talk about skin problems: eczema, dermatitis, psoriasis, rosacea. These things are caused by the deficiency of a single nutrient. This nutrient is big and clumsy, and it's the first thing that you cannot efficiently absorb when you're eating gluten, because gluten consumption damages the villi, the little finger-like projections in the lining of your small intestine. It increases the surface area for absorption. They go away, and you start, and colicky babies get pain in their stomachs when the mother's eating gluten. If they're being breastfed, this gluten comes through the breast milk, and babies start crying and screaming, and they're colicky babies. And then they put them on the formulas because they can't take mother's breast milk. Well, I tried, but it's a colicky baby. Well, that's because the mother's eating gluten that's coming through, causing the baby to have stomach problems. And the babies will get asthma. The babies will get skin problems, eczema, dermatitis, psoriasis. I'll talk about Pastor Creflo Dollar from Atlanta, Georgia. Andy Young from the Civil Rights Movement had rebuilt his knees. And we're talking about 30 years ago now. Andy Young calls me with Pastor Creflo Dollar on the phone from Atlanta, Georgia, and he says, Dr. Wallach, I have Pastor Creflo Dollar on the phone, and his 11-year-old daughter is said by Emory University and Greater Memorial Hospital to have a genetic form of asthma found in black kids, and she's not going to live to be 12. She's having like 10 crises a day, and it's awful. And I said, well, maybe you can help, but the Emory University says she'll be dead within a couple of weeks because she's having all these crises and she's barely getting saved, and one of these times she won't get saved. So, well, there are no genetically transmitted diseases. That's why my thesis is in the Smithsonian Institute as a national treasure. And so what I want you to do is give her the 90 essential nutrients, and then we'll send it to you. She's got to get off all the bad stuff. No gluten, no wheat, brown, rye, oats. And we're going to eat some eggs and that kind of stuff. But again, no gluten. Everybody in the household, dog, cat, brothers and sisters, mom, yourself, Pastor Dollar, and also the cook in the house, and caregivers and people who come to clean the house, all that stuff. Everybody's got to be drop dead gluten free. He calls me in 2 weeks. As God is my witness, in 2 weeks he calls me and he said 2 words. He screamed it, but I'm not going to scream it. But he said, she's cured in 2 weeks by getting her off of gluten and giving her the 90 essential nutrients. Her asthma she'd had for 11 and a half years, getting worse and worse and worse, was going to kill her, according to Emory University, went away. And Pastor Dollar said, now, there's all these genetic diseases in all genetic diseases in the black population. That's correct. All the diseases said to be genetic in the black population are not. All the diseases that are said to be genetic in the black population are either caused by birth defects, where the mother was deficient in a nutrient